We are inspired by you. Thank you for joining our Creative Mamas community. Please give us a 5-star rating, hit that subscribe button, leave a comment, support Creative Mamas Unplugged on Patreon to get your name in the credits, receive extra content, and earn some fun prizes. With this, we can keep creating, uplifting, and growing this incredible community together. We love you so much. Applause.
Be happy, happy, happy.
Be happy, Mom. Be happy, Mommy.
Come on, keep your chair. Enjoy this time.
Go by so fast.
So
Smile.
Smile, smile, my darling.
Welcome to Creative Mamas Unplugged. We are your hosts. I'm Cherice Barton.
And I'm Shelly Hutchinson. Here at Creative Mamas Unplugged, we navigate the hell out of being creatives while raising humans with humor and heart.
We have honest conversations,
Hear wise words from fellow badass parents, and share hilarious stories from the front lines.
Listen, parenthood is one of the most creative, most difficult jobs in the world. You are not alone, and you deserve to be happy.
Welcome back for part 2 with Robb, a powerhouse producer and stage manager whose work spans multi-million-dollar productions and immersive theater experiences around the globe. From overseeing massive creative teams to navigating high-stakes moments behind the curtain, she knows exactly what it takes to get a show over the finish line, and somehow she does it all while raising 2 children. In this conversation, Anna shares how the discipline of stage management taught her the value of prioritizing and how that mindset became essential to her parenting. She opens up about scheduling me time like any other production meeting, color coding her calendar, and stage managing her own life with intention, forgiveness, and flexibility. We talk about how motherhood has sharpened her edge. She calls herself Ruthless, a ruthless creative, someone who doesn't just consume culture but is determined to create it. And through it all, her North Star remains the same: raising kind, grounded people in this world, even if it means making tough choices to show up for them first. She's a bold voice in global theater, a risk taker, and a visionary. Let's welcome the incredible Robb.
This all circles back to how much I appreciated what you wrote. You used the word choice, which for me had such a profound impact. I thought, oh, wow, it's true. It's choice, and it's being happy with that choice, period. So thank you for that.
And it's an empowering approach. You know, I think that you've got to have that you feel agency and you're not drowning in it. And the reality is it's impossible. Like, it's impossible to cover all the things that you'd like to be able to do in a day, right? It's just impossible. So, you know, and now as a producer, what I'm learning now, one of the things that's been an interesting shift for me is that, you know, as a stage manager, you're able to usually be able to wrap your arms around the work and get it all done in a day. But now with the scale and scope of what I do as a producer, in terms of 100% of things that should be done in a day, I could actually really only feasibly get 30%. So I have to then choose what that 30% is going to be and what is most important on that given day. And that's been a really big shift for me when I'm usually the box ticker and getting the things done. I have to be comfortable in the not getting things done, you know, and that's just been a huge shift for me. But also one where I think that it really, again, hones down what your priorities are. And then I include that in my family life and stuff. One of the biggest shifts that I made in the pandemic, actually, when I lived by my calendar, and I started to schedule, because I was so swamped by all the things that I was doing, I was like, I need to put equal importance on my family and my other things and my me things, as well as my work. So I started putting everything in my calendar. So during the pandemic, from like 5:30 to 7 or 8 o'clock was like kid time. And I had it in my calendar from like in every day so that nobody could book meetings around that time, because we were doing so many Zooms and so many things. And my daughter used to come down at like 5:30 and be like, point at the calendar. It's like, it's kid time. And we're like, yes, get off the computer. And I really feel like placing importance on those things, and even for your own time as well, that where you need your own headspace, just created a level of balance. And you still feel just as organized. You're just prioritizing things between your work and your family and yourself to keep yourself sane. And that was a great shift for me to make that all as important as the work itself, you know. Time with my children, things to do with them is there in the calendar, so it's uncompromisable. It's scheduled.
Smart. Love that.
Just
Yes.
for you time.
Yeah, and me time. And it goes for a run, 7 to 8 a.m. That's happening.
Then it holds you accountable for doing it and not skipping it over.
Yeah, because all those things get left by the wayside, right? Like otherwise, especially in my job, and what you were saying about taking your kids to work as well, I think that's a really important thing for them to understand what you're doing and why you're doing it. And I read statistics like working mums generally have more successful kids because they learn discipline, they learn how to work, they learn that people show up for what they need to do and what they want in life, and especially for girls to see and understand what you do. There's a time where it backfired on me though, because my kids grew up in the circus, and I used to, when my son was born, I had a bit of a difficult time because I'm like, how do I do both of these things? And fortunately at the time the theatre was accessible enough that I created this thing called Baby Mondays, but it was really for me. And I brought my son in between shows on a Monday, because there was 2 shows on a Monday night, and he would run up and down the green room and go into the dressing rooms and hang out with everybody. So he thought that mum's work is fun, seeing acrobats fly everywhere. And then like when we left Macau and I moved to Hong Kong, my kids are like, can we go see your office, Mum? Can we go see your office? I'm like, guys, it's not exciting. It's like an office. And they're like, no, we're going to go see it. We're going to see it. And because I know in their mind, they're thinking like the theater and there's performers and makeup and so much fun. They love it. And then I'm like, no, guys, it's a little corner office on the 16th floor with 2 other people. It's really not exciting. So when they first saw it, they were like, oh, Mum's taking a big step down in awe.
Yeah, right. Mom, are you okay? Do you have job security, Mom?
Exactly.
I love the schedule. I'm just going to go back to that again. You literally put it in your schedule. I'm inspired by that. So I think
steal it. Do it.
Yeah.
It's all color coded. It's all fun. It's a stage manager in me. I'm still stage managing my life. It's fun.
I love it though. Like put it in the calendar, color it, color you want to color it. No matter, whether we're on vacation or whatever, just put it in the calendar because I can have it in my mind.
You're an artist. It's like, your art and your creative mind is kind of your first baby. You love your kids like you love your work. Sometimes it's hard to, I guess, figure out which one is going to carry more weight in a moment. Like, I think that sometimes your kid will come in with a need and immediately you just jump into that mom instinct. I'm right here. I can drop everything. I know how to drop everything to just be here with you. And, it can be tricky because we'll drop it all for the babe.
Oh, absolutely. But it's also for me, it's about my own sanity, right? Like I spent, I didn't have children till I was 32, 33. And so I had my independence and I had my time and I had my, you got to feel like a return to yourself. And I think when you work so hard on a project like I have for the last 18 months, I just felt a little bit groundless just because you give yourself over to the production and you do what it takes to get it across the line. And then, like you said, Shelly, every spare moment is then devoted to giving your energy and time to the kids. And that you get spent. And for me, the priority is just to keep, there's times where I get out and do my hour, but it'd be the slowest jog. That my whole thing is like, it doesn't matter how I do it. It's just that I do it. And if it is a walk instead of a run, or if it's lighter weights, then it's, or if it's a yoga practice that's me lying on a mat in child's pose for 15 minutes, then it's the action of repetition without expectation that I'm going to have the energy or the motivation to do it at its extreme like you'd want to be, especially with hormones and the way your body ages and everything. You have to go with the cadence of and be forgiving on yourself. And some days and some months are not full of life and energy and great runs and milestones and, record times. It's just a matter about showing up for yourself and having that moment to yourself, as small as it can be, and not beat yourself up. There's times in the production eras, like I'd go to the gym and I couldn't really do much, but I was there, and I would go for my run and I'd do it twice as long as I usually do because I didn't have the energy, but I was there. I was on the track, having my time and my space. And that's really important to me for my own mental space, because then I can't show up for my work or my kids if I'm not feeling centered or if I'm not feeling balanced in myself. And I'm not a performer like you were, Cherice, but I've always been very, very active all my life, and physical activity is a habit. So I need it to be in my life. Me not doing that is breaking a habit, if that makes sense,
Yeah.
And and as a mother, you want to have a long and healthy life for your children, so you're around for as long as possible. I lost my mum when she was 67, and I miss my mum, and I want to be there around for as long as possible for my children, and to do that, I need to take care of myself.
Yeah.
What is next for you? So, okay, the show opened, right? House of Dancing Water. Obviously, you'll still be intertwined with everything with that show, but is there another project that you're moving towards, or are you mostly going to be working with House of Dancing Water right now?
We've probably got another month or so of handover of paperwork and documentation that we're still finishing up on the project. I'd like a vacation. I keep dreaming of a beach in Bali. I haven't got there yet for at least a week. And yeah, we have a bunch of other projects that we're pitching and trying to get funding for. Our OLC, it's very rare for people to be spending the kind of money and in time for shows like the scale that is the House of Dancing Water, right? So that was a lucky project that came across our laps for us to do, but nobody's kind of building those kind of projects from the beginning right now. So we're looking at more faster to market and smaller shows in the immersive space, like dinner theaters and sort of nightclub experiences that are theatrical, and walkthrough experiences with theatre and human performances as well. And our goal is to create and then produce and sell those rather than being sort of client servicing. So we've got a few concepts that the other half of my team who have been working on while we've been doing the House of Dancing Water, and we have a few good opportunities that should come into fruition towards the end of the year, which would be fantastic. Some in Europe and some here in Asia that we'd like to move to next. So yeah, that's our goal. But a rest first, I hope.
So I mean, immersive theater is really where it's at right now. It's very exciting. So when you're creating your own show, like not for a client, where do you find the space to create? Like,
yeah, so we have an artistic director who Tiziana, who does a lot of the ideation of the project. So when we talk about, we'd still need the creation time to create the choreography or whatever, but in terms of the concept of storyboarding the concept and being able to pitch that to investors and things like that, we have multiple presentations and offerings there where we explain that and what is the business model, how much the investment costs, and how and what their returns are going to be, basically. So we have the concept from a creative perspective, and then from a producing perspective, what that business model looks like. And then we go out to work with people that are looking to invest into these projects and put some money into it. So with the restaurant, with the dinner theatre, we are partnering with also a restaurant chain who will be also advocating for the project, so that they can be the restaurateur. And then also in there's a lot of, in this region in the Middle East and also in Asia as well, sort of theatrical projects that are interested in sort of, theme park areas and places like that. So doing some ideation and concepts for those, and hopefully, those land and we can start to produce that. Because what's difficult about OLC is that we took House of Dancing Water, but it's not really our creation. We remounted it for Franco Dragone, right? So we haven't really had an opportunity since we've formed to show our kind of style, our brand, our artistic directors' visions and things like that. So we're really looking forward to making some shows that we can show what our capabilities are. And I think that our whole goal is to be small and agile and not grow to any kind of behemoth, and do kind of bespoke smaller productions that we can do for, whatever locations will take us around the world.
That's great. I think it's fantastic what you're doing. It's really exciting. It's really exciting.
And it's an interesting time in the industry, right? Like I think post-pandemic and, a lot of repertory theatres are closing and it's quite volatile, but I also think that like in that there's such an opportunity for new companies to come out with some new stuff and change the game a little bit. And I do hope that we've got ideas that people are going to like, so fingers crossed they do.
Yeah, I'm sure they will. Your kids must be so proud of you.
They are. They're so proud of House of Dancing Water. They've like taken all their friends and it's beautiful. I love it. I love their connection to it. You were going to say something, Shelly?
Just going to ask you that, you had mentioned, that you have like all these new ideas and you're really trying to like, change the game. And you had mentioned earlier that you've always been such a risk taker and you kind of like cliff jump a little bit. I'm assuming that has changed once you had kids, that way of thinking in a way, just because it has to. But do you find that you still have that sort of, big swing, big hit type thing where like, bigger risk, greater reward? Do you still feel like you have this attitude, and is it as loud as it was?
Oh, yeah. Just ask my husband.
Wow, really?
Yeah. I think even now that I've hit like perimenopause, I'm even more ruthless,
Oh my gosh, that's awesome.
I think that, I've always wanted to have enough like financial stability not to be stupid, right? Because I've got to support the family. But I've always been quite audacious in that sense. And it's taken me a long time to learn that about myself because, for a while I tried to fit into that mold of, I don't know, tried to fit into something. I think as women, you try to like, fit in generally. But now I realize that I'm just so autonomous and I want to try new, it's, with StageLink, which is, my other business, and OLC. And somebody pointed to me the other day, she's like, Anna, you do realize you started 2 new businesses at the same time? And I was like, I did, didn't I? And I'm one of those people, Shelley, that I think there's 2 types of people in the world. There are people that consume culture and there's people who create culture. And I'm not much of a consumer. Like I don't go to see shows. I don't watch TV. I don't scroll on. I do get on Instagram and stuff and look at that. And it's mainly for inspiration. I'm a person that would rather spend my Sunday morning publishing articles for my website than watching TV or something like that, So it's who I am. And I think when everybody has some manifestation of an artist, and when you're an artist, you've got to do what is you. And I've spent 25 years figuring that out. And I think now in my 40s, I feel like all of the things that I've done are starting to combine. And I don't know what's next, but I just love the things that I do. I feel like with producing stuff, but also on the digital side, there's so much potential and possibility, and we've got a lot to do in this age of AI. And I feel like I'm in the place to contribute something. And I don't know what that is, but I get up and I'm a passionate person for this industry. I'm a passionate for what I do. So I like to try stuff. We've got some big stuff coming up with StageLink that we're going to try. And I'm a dreamer. I'm an idealist, I think.
I was going to ask you about StageLink. So yeah, I was looking on the website and obviously, so there's the podcast, there's the articles. It's really a platform for entertainment professionals, correct?
Correct.
It's very cool. What inspired you to do that?
So I started with a website with theatre called Theatre Art Life, which is kind of an interesting story because as I was finishing up with House of Dancing Water, I met a psychologist friend of mine and she said, like, if you were to like sum up your life in 3 words, what would that be? And the 3 words that I came up was my love of theatre and art and life. And I had realized that over the time of my work, I'd met so many people like yourselves, just really talented people, fascinating people. And they're not necessarily always the people that are in the spotlight, just wonderful. And we all create art all over the world. And I wanted to bring those people together. So I started Theatre Art Life, which was a website. And at the same time, Andrea Honnis started Circus Talk over on the other side of the world. And she built her community with Circus Talk. And then around 2015, 16, we started collaborating content and stuff like that. And then we had this conversation. It was 2020, 22. We had this conversation and we both had been carrying our websites quite alone because when you create something that is your own business and you're the person driving it, and unless you've got a great co-founder that's just as passionate or just as invested, you really are alone, right? And we just really identified with ourselves that we're both alone running our own things, and then they were going okay, but they weren't growing, So we're like, well, we're either going to shut both our websites down and walk away, or we come together. So we came together and we formed StageLink. And when we did that last year, we realized that the back end of Circus, I moved all my stuff over to Circus Talk and we became StageLink, but the back end of that was a little bit chunky and old. So we've been spending the last 12 months now with a chief technology officer who's revamping, and we're about to relaunch a new look, new feel, better UX UI experience. And we've got a bunch of things that we're going to announce pretty soon. So we're really excited about it. And the goal is, people will be able to find jobs, people will be able to build their profiles. And what our bigger mission is, once we've got more industry engagement, is to really turn that focus towards the audience. Because we know that our industry, in terms of paying for memberships and whatever, we're a poor industry, right? Like we're not people that are really going to survive by subscriptions and memberships and stuff like that. So we're gonna create an audience-facing component of that as well. But we've got lots of plans and we have a great team, and it's a great project for me. Like you guys, when you meet people in the podcast and I get to speak to creatives all over the world, it just keeps me really motivated, right, to be part of the industry when you talk to people who are talented and intelligent, and keeps you up to date with what's going on around the world and what technologies are there. And that's StageLink.
You're moving. You're keeping it moving.
Well, I have a little secret here that I'm going to have to tell you, because I've got affordable childcare here. It's a huge advantage. A lot of people say, well, how do you create and balance that all? I have somebody that literally helps me manage my household. And I think that's a huge asset for me in terms of cooking and cleaning and taking care of the house. So in terms of the things that I have for work and my time with my kids, both of those things are maximizes because I have that support you can't really necessarily get at the same cost in other countries. So I feel like I have a secret advantage.
Yeah, that's interesting. But for some people, it's their mother or their mother-in-law or their father-in-law or
That's right.
cousin or someone, like family. Like some people live with their family and some people have family that does that for them. I think you're right, though. That is a component of life in family, is like who's doing the dishes, who's doing the laundry, who's scrubbing the dirt out of the baseball pants, like whatever it is. There's a big part of that goes to your day. But I think that's so cool that you have that. And so that you are able to like really make these changes that you want to make in the industry and make like a really big footprint. And you said this word that hit me so hard. I was like, yeah, do it. You called yourself ruthless in this idea of your role. And it brings me to tears when I think about it, because I feel like you don't really hear that when it comes to mom creatives, that they're ruthless in what they do. It's such a powerful way to say what you're doing and to describe what you're doing and how you're doing it. Like my new favorite.
I love that you pulled that word out. Isn't that funny that you pulled that word out? Because when I was really struggling in the pandemic, I had a few sessions with a therapist, because I was like, trying to figure myself out and whatever. And she was trying to talk about me being passionate. And I was like, passionate's not the right word. And I kept thinking, like, why is it, yeah, of course I'm passionate, but it doesn't feel right. And that's when I came up with the word, it's ruthless. I am really ruthless. And I think we should not be apologetic for that. I think as women, I think it's okay to be ruthless. I think that could be tarred with a bad sort of intonation, but it's not for me. It gives me the motivation to do the things that I'm doing. So I love that you pulled that word out, Shelly. I didn't even realize that I said that.
it really hit me, and I was like, oh my gosh, how cool is it to describe? Because to your point, I think, yeah, it does have when you're talking about being a mom, it's like nurturing and all the things, which is true, but you can be ruthless in doing that too. And it gives such a sense of power, pride in what you do. And you're just beyond, we use this word all the time, but inspiring because of how you're walking the walk in all parts of your life in the way that you want to. And I'm just really inspired by this conversation today, more than you know.
It's such a compliment. I think that, thank you. That's very nice.
You are a force. We're so honored to have you with us today. Thank you for spending this time. And
it's nice to hang out with you guys.
I know. I'm like, I want to hang out with her more.
We need to hang out. Are you in Los Angeles too, Shelly?
No, I'm in, I live in New Jersey, but I work in New York City. So
okay.
Yeah, we left about 6 or 7 years ago.
Right.
And so East Coast, West Coast, what time is it there for you, Anna?
It's now midnight.
Oh, hell. Is this normal for you? Are you a late person? Like you stay up late?
Yeah. Well, it depends on the day, It depends on my podcast as well. This is not abnormal for me to be up. And it's good because this is the time where the kids are in bed anyway. So you can it's quiet time. As long as the cats are not running around fighting. It's quiet. And I just have to say, I think it's really wonderful what you guys are doing. I think it's a lot of the times in the podcast that I do, we really mainly only talking about work. So it's really nice to open up and talk about the facet of being a mother as well, because it is such a big part of our lives. So I appreciate you bringing a spotlight to that. It's such an important part of who we are and what we do on a day-to-day basis. And I think there's a lot of women out there just trying to figure it out, right? And trying to make their choices in how they balance their work and their life.
Creative Mamas Unplugged is produced by Breatheasy Productions with music by Jeremy Jurin. If you enjoyed this episode, please don't forget to give my mama 5 stars and keep coming back. Thanks to us kids, there are plenty of stories to tell. And you are not alone. Bye for now.